Hello, founders. Welcome to another pitch deck critique and review. This is for Startups.com channel. Happy to be here. We are going to be looking at RegenX. Full disclosure, this pitch deck went through a former critique and review process and has sent me an update, and we're going to be critiquing the update. I'm going to link to the previous one, but you're pretty much going to get the full feedback as if this was going from scratch on this one. As a reminder to everyone, if you want your pitch deck critiqued and reviewed, contact us, send it in. We are happy to do it. Me and Will Schroeder, CEO, founder of Startups.com. We do this every single Tuesday, doing a special one-off today. Send us your pitch deck. We're happy to do it. And we appreciate all founders that are courageous to send us the feedback. We're here to help you. Let's take a look at RegenX. RegenX is a tokenization platform that helps impact investors access verified green projects. This is a tremendous upgrade from the tagline that we had initially. And what I like about this is I completely know what I'm getting into. Tokenization, crypto, blockchain investors know what we're getting into. And you say what you do. You talk about your industry, and you're going to help these investors access verified green projects. Straightforward. So kudos, definite improvement. Here's the problem statement. In 2023, 1.6 trillion was invested in Australian green projects, but many weren't verified and lacked real impact, fueling greenwashing, eroding trust, and limiting access for 2.16 million impact investors. This is definitely improved. So we're solving the problem that the projects weren't verified and lack real impact. And therefore, we got problems with fueling, greenwashing, eroding trust, limiting access to 2.16 million impact investors. I like it. It makes sense. The solution, RegenX uses blockchain to restore trust by tokenizing green projects into digital tokens, enabling real-time verification of transactions, carbon credits, and sustainability claims, boosting investor confidence and access. Much more improved. But here's where the problem starts to occur. So first, we have to simplify for people if they don't have the technical expertise. So here's the problem. And this is a lot better. 1.66 trillion was invested. This is a size market into green projects, but many weren't verified. So first, we're amorphous. So when you say many weren't verified, this is the question. So how many weren't verified, right? So you've got this thing here, many weren't verified, and now I'm questioning how much number is that. So can we get a little more exact? I don't know if that's possible, but like an estimate, just say 50% of that money was invested in projects that weren't verified, lacking real impact. If you can get to that, because how do you know? This is just opinion. And you can make it even more direct and say $800 million was invested without any real impact in projects that were greenwashed, that eroded trust. And so now 2.16 million investors don't know where to invest, right? So let's get a little more detailed, and then let's simplify the solution. So RegenX uses blockchain to restore trust. Now that is too esoteric. So you want to explain to me exactly what you do. So RegenX uses blockchain to put information such as carbon credits, sustainability claims onto the blockchain that can be verified real time, therefore building trust, right? So straightforward, and explain to me like I am in junior high and you've come to my junior high class and I'm at career day. But this is getting a lot closer, way closer than before, because the problem and solution match. The problem before was lack of trust because nothing was verified. And the solution is we're now going to verify using the blockchain. So we are 80% there. Just keep honing this and having it make sense. Kudos to this founder, you know who you are, for making this improvement. So the market opportunity breakdown. With 2.16 million impact investors seeking green projects, RegenX SaaS and project fees translate to a total addressable market of $33 billion. I like the headline, just straightforward, right? You've explained 2.16 million investors times $1,500 equals $1.6 trillion projects times 2%. So you're giving me some math. I don't have to fully understand it, but that totally makes sense, right? And then now we're going to adjust for 10% adoption rate and then assuming 10%. All right, we need to talk about this specifically. Everyone out there, this is very typical. If we only get 10% of the market, we're going to be making $3.2 billion. And if we only get 10% of that market, we're going to be making $180 million. That is not what TAM, SAM, SOM is for. Let's break down and have a conversation, everyone, what TAM, SAM, SOM is. TAM, SAM, SOM is when you make an extrapolation and make an assumption that you calculate this the potential of our market, not predicting the future. Potential of the market, not predicting future. Predicting future. How do you know you're going to get 10%, right? But people say to me, founders, oh, but Ed, if we only get 1% of the market, we're going to be billionaires. That falls into the same thing. You are predicting that you're going to capture 1% of the market, and you just don't know. We want to know the potential of that market and let the investors think through 10%, 1%, et cetera, and how realistic they are. For TAM, in this case, was bang on. Here's the total market times what we think we'd make from them, this is how much money that we'd make. $33 billion. Big TAM, fantastic. But now your SAM needs to be serviceable, addressable market, needs to be based on our business model and our strategic advantage. We're going to focus here, and here's how big that market is. So let's explore this just for a moment. So we got 2.16 million impact investors trying to put in green projects. So I want to know, what is the focus based on your business model, right? So let's just put this here. Focus, then your biz model, as well as your advantage. And so I don't know what that looks like. It may be we're going to focus on renewable energy, or we're going to focus on solar because, I don't know, maybe you've got a background in solar, or we're going to start with projects that are already making money, have already been funded around because they've got easily verifiable assets that they can put on the blockchain. Or we're going to start with those organizations that can raise money based on crypto. I don't know what that is. You have to tell the investor, this is where our focus is going to be. Not if we make 10%, we're going to make lots of money. SOM is what is realistic. So you put in there, if everything goes well, we should be making $180 million by year 5, which is good. You want to be above $100 million to be a unicorn. So this is where we need to make an adjustment. Starting here, up here, fantastic job. You passed that. But now you're halfway there. Let's improve SAM and SOM. Next, why now? Now, here's the thing. Right away, I'm going to let you know I don't like why now slides, because you better give me a serious inflection point. Immediately, I got my hackles up. You better be ready to bring it on this, all right? Global climate change funded gap is expected to reach trillions in value. That is not good enough. That's not a good enough slide, because I don't know why. And you're basically trying to predict the future again, and we're running into the same issue. That's really what's going on here. If you just bring me something like we just hope or we believe, and anybody can go extrapolate and make numbers go up and to the right. At an inflection point, a why now? We just got through COVID. We just, EdTech platform. We just had however many millions of students miss 2 years of school. That's why we need it right now. Great. That's a great thing. New reports are coming out that all these kids missed school and they got developmental challenges. By the way, I use this for one of my own startups. You want to explain, maybe there's a massive sort of thing. A war broke out. Hey, that's happening right now. I had a founder, they did a VPN, and guess what? War broke out, and most of their users, they had 40 million users, profitable month 3. Most of the users were in Ukraine, right? That's an inflection point. Why now? Tell the investor, hey, this is a perfect moment. Strike while the iron is hot. This slide is telling me why now, like, in 2050. That doesn't tell me why now. That tells me why 2050. Just explain, take it for granted. Get rid of this slide. That's all I got to say. I'm going to let you know. Okay, how it works for project developers. You sign up, register profile, submit a project, validation tokenization. RegenX verifies, converts your project to digital tokens using Stellar's Layer 1 blockchain, enabling transparency real-time tracking. Okay, great. Now, why can't I see just step 1, 2, 3? Because I'm going to let you know this dashboard is really distracting right away. So just give me the 1, 2, 3. Let me get my trusty pen out here and just say here 1, 2, 3, and then, keep that headline right up top here. So give me one headline. We're using Stellar to validate tokenization. It's easy. And then go 1, 2, 3. This dashboard doesn't give me insight into what the developer experience is. The dashboard is really for the investor. I know this because I'm familiar with the website. So clean this up and make it 1, 2, 3, super simple, but it's getting there. How it works for the investors. Sign up, browse projects, invest and track. Great. And this screenshot is appropriate, right? But here, dashboard, it's too muddled, can't tell. Or if you're going to have a screenshot, say, hey, please upload your assets, and here's how it works. Now, if we go to business model, we operate on a platform business model with 3 primary revenue streams charged to the investor and client project developer. Just explain that and be straightforward. This is confusing. We operate on a platform business model. Just say, we charge platform fees to the investor and project developer. That's it. So SaaS services. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if this is for the investor or the developer, right? So you want to figure out, if you're telling me that you're going to split it between the investor and developer, well, then that has to be translated, right? So just say straight out, like SaaS plus services, that means nothing to me. Just say listing fee, $1,500 a month to the project developer. Transaction fees, are you charging that to the developer or the investor? Is it double-sided? And then project fees charged on total capital raised per project. So better, because you got this big headline, but I'm really confused as what's going on here. So explain that a little more, but again, very improved on how it works. Now, just want to say, everyone, that if you want to make your life a little bit easier in terms of convincing investors, battle test your assumptions. Be able to explain, okay, here's what's going to happen. And if you battle test your assumptions against competitors, it better show up in your competitor's slide. Because eventually investors are going to ask, how do you know they're going to pay $1,500 a month? Because I can tell you right now, $1,500 a month to list my project, for some people raising, that is a lot of money. So maybe that's the reason you're going to be in SAM, is companies that are already generating revenue, and maybe they're in a past Series A, because $1,500 a month is expensive. Especially the founders that I know, they don't have $1,500 a month to list on a platform like this. An investor is going to ask that, a savvy investor, how do you know? Transaction fees, performance, maybe a comparison of fees to other platforms is in order later on. Go-to-market strategy. Let's take a look. RegenX go-to-market strategy leverages Stellar's blockchain Discord community to attract impact-focused investors while partnering with climate groups such as Climate Style Energy Labs to secure a continuous pipeline of tokenizable climate projects. Okay, that makes sense to me. I'd like to see you create a little bit of a graphic. So if we want to improve this, here's what I would do. Is I would get a nice little graphic in there, and I would say, all right, here's what this looks like. So I would say, all right, so here is Discord, and then here are your climate groups. And then I would just say, okay, here's what we're going to do to connect those two together. Just straightforward and great. So if you're saying we're going to use Discord, like communities, chat communities and groups, and we're going to connect, then that's fine. I think you're missing an opportunity with this graphic right there. So that's all I have to say about that. Next, team. Great. RegenX team blends wealth management, climate analytics, blockchain expertise with strong partnerships, proven track record to transform impact investing. Better, but I want an explanation. Get details. Give me some details. So don't just gloss it over and give me some generic stuff. Give me some details. So explain to me how much, like, have you created $3 billion in exits and values? How many years of experience do you have? Give me some more details, because this is a little bit vague, but kudos to you for having that sentence. And then co-founder, for experience. Okay, great. So get these things going and show logos, as I've talked about before. This slide, getting there a little better, but could be definitely improved. So keep pushing it, because since you are not already having lots of traction, it's not built, you're going to need to bring an A game as far as your team is concerned. All right, competition. RegenX builds trust and attracts impact investors by solving greenwashing, transparency issues that competitors fail to address. Okay, I like it, right? You're telling us this is what users want, and it's going to be up to the investors to say, do I agree, disagree, right? We got transparency, blockchain, real-time data. So flawed ESG metrics, limited public reporting. Okay, I like it. Partial transparency. Yeah, you're explaining it. Pretty good. Low minimum capital requirements, $100. So this is what I don't understand. If you need $100, okay, from the investor. So clarify that. The investor only needs to put in $100. Now, I'm going to point out something that immediately I'm starting to think of right away. Remember, battle testing. So think through your mind, because the investor is going to be thinking through, what is the user going through? If I have a green project and I'm paying you $1,500 a month to list my project, plus a percentage, and you're bringing me investors $100 at a time, the math doesn't add up to me, right? I basically need 15 investors, and this is hard enough as it is. I need 15 investors just to pay for your platform. So how are you going to get me 150 investors, so I know 10% of my cost is going there? You see what's going through people's minds? So what this is called, everyone, and let's pause for a moment and let me explain. All of you on this call, this is what's called the idea maze. It was, I believe, from Andreessen Horowitz, A16Z. They said what we do is we ask founders through the idea maze. We ask them questions, and if they cannot think themselves through the idea maze, then no, we're not investing. But if a founder has thought these things through as we test them, what about this? What about this dead end? What if a customer complains? What are you doing to address this competition? What if AI comes and blows you out of the water? What if OpenAI starts competing with you? And you have to be able to tell me, I thought that through, and I know something that everybody else doesn't know. Or you could say to the investor, yeah, that makes sense that you would think that way, but we address it here. It's the idea maze. And that's where founders get tripped up, and that's where investors know they can trip you up, and they ask you questions for the idea maze all the time. I've got a video somewhere out there floating around the idea maze. You know, I should probably do a refresher video. So learn how to walk through the idea maze, and how you do that is you get advisors, you get us at Startups.com, you get other people to ask you. Like, I ask questions to founders that may seem like dumb questions that I know investors are going to ask. Like, why should I use you instead of Google, right? That's the first thing that investors are constantly going to be asking, and founders come so ill-prepared. You know how I know? Because I get meetings for founders, and the investor says, yeah, I'm interested. Fill out this form with some of our socialization. Remember, it goes screening, introduction phase first. And if an investor likes your idea, they'll start to socialize, and they may send you a questionnaire, or they may ask for a meeting to ask you all these questions. And they'll ask you questions like, what is your LTV? What is your pipeline? What is your CAC, customer acquisition cost? And you know what? Founders are not prepared. They don't know their numbers. They haven't put themselves through the idea maze. Let me put it a little different. In professional sports, it's called reverse scouting. What happens is a coach will tell their coordinators or go through this exercise and say, we need to scout our own team as if the enemy, the competitive team, is scouting our own team. And if we were the opposing team, how do we scout our own team? And that is a valid exercise, because a lot of times you just end up scouting your competition and you don't see your own glaring weaknesses and your own blind spots. So you reverse scout. You run your own idea through the idea maze, or you have someone run you through it. And that's the reason all of us with investment experience, I was general partner of a fund. I had to figure out how to find deal flow and allocate $100 million, which is really hard. I needed to ask the right questions and run founders through the idea maze to not lose my job and not lose all our funding, and basically explain, yeah, this is why we're going to be writing that check. And if I didn't ask the right questions, the real tough questions, and you as a founder, you couldn't give me the right answers, well, that deal's not getting done. So that's the reason I'm pointing out the idea maze right now, because I've already hit dead ends on the idea maze on this pitch deck, and you need to reverse scout. You need to make sure that you understand. Traction. RegenX has secured funding, validated market demand. How much funding? Like, just explain this to me right up front if this is a major point, right? And I know the bullet point is there, but just give it to me straight up so I don't have to read the rest of the bullets. Secure funding, validated market demand through 100 investor interviews. Okay, let me stop you right here, everyone, making statements that you have validated anything. And I warned a founder today about this. He said, we're validating product market fit. You don't have to say that. And if you said that, you probably don't have it anyway. Don't make claims that anything's validated. Just tell me you've done 100 customer interviews. That's it. And 50% have said, yeah, we're going to do that. Cut it down. Get rid of the hyperbolic statements. We're revolutionizing this. We're upending that. We're disrupting this. We already have proven product market fit, customer demand. No, you haven't done anything. Show me. Don't tell me if that's the case. Give me the numbers. Show me a growth graph that now you got $1 million in revenue and that's actually happening. Show that to me. Don't give me the other stuff, right? And that's the problem I have with these hyperbolic statements. So just say we've raised $100,000, done 100 investor interviews. Now, my other problem with this, when you just say 100 plus interviews, I think you're kind of fudging the numbers, right? So tell me you've done 121 interviews, right? And updated every single time. Grad Scale Pros like Start Bootcamp, KPMG, okay? And so just say we are in programs, and then you can list those to refine and scale this platform, all right? And then you can give me those bullet points right there. So shore up and strengthen that sentence so investors know that you're serious. Make it concise. Funding, we're raising $250,000 to onboard 5 client projects and 100 investors in year 1 to generate $3 million in revenue. Use of funds, right? MVP development marketing. Okay, so I'm going to go back to traction. Complete 100 plus interviews, build strong plan. Remember, taking you through the idea maze. You got your second crack at this pitch deck. So I don't see traction of this project is up and running. You have an MVP, right? So now I go here. You're not going to raise $250,000 to onboard 5 climate projects if your MVP is in development. I'm sorry, I don't believe you. And 100 investors in year 1 to generate $3 million in revenue, $250,000. So I'm having a problem with $250,000 to get 5 climate projects, $3 million in revenue. Now, let me just stop and say, if you could pull off $3 million in revenue for $250,000, you are going to be the darlings, and so much funding is going to be thrown at you. But I don't believe that this is going to happen, especially at this stage. Why? Because the team, I don't see technical expertise in the same level that you're going to go crush it. I see a robust team, which is great. I don't see an MVP. I don't see enough validation for me to believe that you're going to get there. And therefore, I would really caution you of putting this out there, especially general admin testing, like $250,000 for staffing. Like one coding person alone is going to blow that out of the water. Like maybe you can hire someone for $100 and some odd $1,000, but 2 staff at $125,000, you've already burned up all the budget and you haven't built anything yet. So this is where I don't believe that these metrics are battle tested, and that's going to be an issue right there. So there you have it. So overall, I would say, let's summarize the issue with this pitch deck. Drastically improved. So A+ for the improvement. You improved it. It's more succinct, and we're focusing, because I remember last time we could have solved 3 different problems, 3 different solutions. Now you're focused on that. I'm going back to the idea maze. I don't know if I believe that this is even possible based on what you're saying, and that's where you want to beat things up. You want to go and you want to try and get some more verification or validation with stronger numbers and explain exactly what's happening. Now, obviously, you've done something right to already get $100,000 and these programs, which is really great. But I would trail back the expectations just a little bit and make it a little more realistic. In fact, I would test it. I'd go back to the people who gave me the $100,000. I would show them this pitch deck and I'll say, do you think this is realistic? Like, do you actually believe us? Do you think investors will believe us? And get feedback and go from there. Always get feedback. But as far as the mechanics of this pitch deck, drastically improved. Good on you. Work on your startup and make what you're promising and the reality of the ability to deliver and create that confidence, bring those together. Once again, if you're interested in getting your own pitch deck reviewed, contact us, leave a comment, let us know, and we're happy to get that going for you. Thanks again to this founder and everybody who's participated in it.